Everyone and everything is telling you to quit your job today and bet on yourself and go into business full time. What they're not telling you is how many businesses fail because the owner quit their job too soon. See, your job right now is currently the biggest investor for your business. It's not your enemy. Yes, it may take away some time from your business and some effort, let's say, but it's your biggest investor. And making that leap to go full-time in business, while it may seem brave, it's a poor decision right now because it's going to keep you broke.
Welcome to Success Spectrum Podcast, where new entrepreneurs break free from limiting beliefs, build unshakable financial confidence, and step boldly into the life and business they were meant to create.
Your paycheck is currently buying you the time you need to build. If you were to just rely on your business income, you'd be in a hole because you have no business income. That's where your job comes in. Yes, you have these other expenses and everything you need to take care of. Your business cannot take care of that right now because you're just starting. That's where your job comes in. Let it be the biggest investor, because whatever extra you have, you can now put that towards tools. You can now put that towards maybe hiring somebody, a VA or whoever it might be, to do whatever is required. Or again, pay for these tools you need for your business, to pay for the website, to pay for these other things. But without those, without that job, that income source, you're going to be in a hole. You're just learning this business. You're learning things and you're testing things, you're iterating. And the job, the income, allows you space and time to do exactly that. If you did not have space, if you did not have income rather, you would not have the space and time to iterate and test. You would need it to work today. You would need the business to work right away, but that's not the way it works. Your business is not going to work right away. You have to test. You have to iterate. You have to get feedback. You have to make adjustments. That takes time. That takes effort. That takes energy. That is what your job, the income from your job, allows you to do. It gives you that space to create and to iterate. And if you don't believe me, here's some factual evidence for you. Nike, Spanx, and Apple, they were built while at least one of the owners were working at a job at the same time, right? So Phil Knight, he was an accountant. Spanx, Sarah Blakely, she sold fax machines. Apple, Steve Wozniak worked at HP. And from what I understand, a lot of the work that Steve did for HP, he did at his HP desk. So yes, he still had a job. He was still working, but he built this empire, just like these other two, right? So again, your job, while it might seem annoying, while it might seem like it's draining energy, it's draining time and so on, don't quit too soon. I know I quit too soon at one point. In 2016, I had about $6,000 in the bank. Mind you, I was 23 years old. Let me give you that disclaimer. I had $6,000 that I saved up. And I was like, yo, I got $6,000. I think it's time for me to go full-time in business. It's not a lot, but it should be able to carry me at least a couple of months, maybe 3, to the point where my business is now getting good revenue and I have good profit, to the point where I can actually, I'm good, right? So if I quit today, I have this $6,000 that can carry me for the next 2 or 3 months, and that's enough. Wrong. It was a tough situation. I ended up driving Uber for a little bit because I needed something in order to get income coming in. And Uber, I can drive on my own time, make a little bit of money, so on and so forth. Uber was pretty big at the time. It was not just starting, but it was earlier, I would say. Now, it didn't end up working out. If I had spent some time, learned a little bit more, actually had some more customers coming in, maybe took a week off of work beforehand and to take a chance and see how much income I can get in, how many clients I can bring in during that week off, that would have showed me, okay, I'm ready. Okay, I'm not ready. Okay, here's an adjustment I can make. Or again, even if I just saved, 20,000, 15,000, 10,000, whatever it might be. Or if I just set a limit to say, okay, cool. Here I am working this job. It's bringing me income, which is great because it's paying my bills, which is important. It's keeping a roof over my head. It's keeping food in my stomach. Let me keep this for now and give myself a year to build up savings, to build up more clientele and really get clients rolling in and business rolling in before I step away from this thing. Let me get X amount of dollars in business monthly, consistently, before I step away from this job. These are some things you can do. These are some things I had to tell myself after the fact. I quit too early and it ended up killing my momentum in generally, to be honest with you, not just in business, but all around, because now I'm stressing about money. Now I have to go get a new car to drive Uber because my car at the time was too old, and I had to figure things out. I quit the job thinking I'm going to work harder because I'll have more time to put towards the business. And personally, I did work harder, but nowhere close to as hard as I should have. Because you could think to yourself, okay, and I know you've probably had this thought before, if I step away from this 40 hours a week or 40 plus hours a week, depending on what job you work, I can go put 20 hours into my business. Even if it's the same 40 hours, I will put that amount of time into the business and I can make so much more money. Yes, potentially, but not right away. And you've got to build up that discipline. You've got to build up that habit. For some reason, it seems to be easier to get up and go to work for someone else because it's like you have to. But when you have the choice to get up and work for yourself, you got to shift into a different gear because oftentimes you're not going to do it. So you quit the job thinking you're going to put 20 or 40 hours into your business now, and you don't end up doing it, and you don't end up making the money. It's just this spiral that happens. You just keep going downward, let's say, because you don't have the income and you're not doing the activities to make it happen, to get that income to support yourself. So now every single decision you're making is from a point of desperation. You're taking certain clients that you probably shouldn't be taking because you are so desperate for the money, or you're trying to do anything and everything, but it's just not working because it's not the activities you should be focused on, but you're thinking from a perspective of desperation versus a perspective of building a business. Ultimately, the business ends up suffocating and you end up under financial pressure. You end up building up some debt. I think by the end of it, years later, I had about $20,000 in debt, and it was not a pretty situation. Thank God I dug myself out of that hole, but it was not a pretty situation.
Man, what's the deal? I want to shout my boy out, Kadeem McLean, for just going over the flight assessment with me. Very knowledgeable, very aware. Just to give you like a quick example, as fluent as he was explaining the information, I not doubted myself, but I questioned, would I be able to explain the same information if I was in his shoes? Not to say that I wouldn't get my best foot forward, but just the way that he explained the information, thorough and was very detailed and accommodating, it just made me feel comfortable even to give more information maybe than even that was needed. But that's just how comfortable that he made me. You want to work with someone that will make you feel comfortable so that they will be able to extract everything out of you, even things that may pop up as far as improv, right? Just right on the spot. So look no further than Kadeem McLean. He gonna get you together. Peace.
Some advice that I would give my 23-year-old self, or anybody who's in that situation, who's ready to quit their job so that they can go full-time in business. Don't quit until some of these are in order. I talked about some of these already in this episode. If your business income replaces your job income for 3 to 6 months, okay, you're probably in a position where you can now quit your job if you want to. I'm not saying you should, I'm not saying you shouldn't, but you're at least in a financial position where you could probably quit your job. If you have 6 to 12 months of expenses saved, then again, you have a bit of a safety net, if you will, where you're good. You can cover 6 to 12 months of expenses if required. And that's the time it might take to build your income in your business to a point where, okay, we're good. We've got this covered. We don't want to just operate on hope. Hope is important, but you want to make sure that you have a proven business demand, your market research, and not even just your market research at this point. Are you getting clients? Are you actively bringing in income? Because if you're not, it's probably too soon to to quit the job and cut the thread. It is probably too soon to burn that bridge. When you have an actual plan for growth and you are actively executing it, then you can probably quit your job. It's not just a plan for survival, but a plan to thrive, a plan for growth. How am I going to get this business from 10 clients a month to 100 clients a month? This is what I'm actively going to do. And here's the thing about that. You don't just want to have goals for everything in life, but we're talking about business right now. So for your business, you do not just want to have goals and make a big life decision off of a goal. You want to make sure you have habits. What is your daily action? What is your daily habit? What is your weekly habit that is going to help you to get to this milestone? Because quitting your job is not the starting line. It's really a milestone for your business. What are you actively doing daily to acquire that, to achieve that milestone? Because if you don't have daily habits, you just have a goal, don't quit, rethink it. That goal, habits need to be attached to that. You can either be building while employed, or you could be scrambling while broke. The choice is really up to you. It's your choice to make. But what I would say is build the systems and test offers while you still have that job income. Because that's, again, it allows you the space, the affordability to do so. Use your nights and your weekends strategically. That is vital. You don't want to be partying every single weekend. You're going to have to miss some things. You're going to have to potentially miss some weddings. You're going to have to potentially miss some birthday parties or some outings or some whatever it might be. You're going to have to miss some of that to build this business if you really want it that bad. I'm not saying miss everything. I'm not saying cut people off or don't communicate with loved ones. But what I'm saying is you have to have a level of dedication that is going to help you to build this thing the way you want to build it. Because if you don't have that, you don't have that drive, maybe this isn't for you. Maybe it's you should not quit your job, even if you build some side income, let's call it, because you are not ready for that. You don't have the desire, the drive to do it or get it done. You might have the desire, but you may not have the drive. And those are two different things. If you don't have that level of drive to say, okay, no, I cannot make it. Call me back in 3 months because I'm busy, I'm doing something, then it's questionable for you. And I'm not saying you have to grind every single day and night, but I think the mentality has to be that. The mentality has to be, I am going to put in effort, and when I am working, I am all in. It's not that I'm going to spend every single hour of every waking hour doing this, not necessarily, but for me at least, and maybe this is I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing. The way I'm wired is my brain does not shut off. It just keeps going. Many different things, many different opportunities, many different business ideas, the whole 9 yards. So it's constantly going, it's constantly active. Even when I'm not working on business, even when I'm not doing work for my job, it's just going, my brain. So I think there has to be a little bit of that in order to be successful, let's say, in business. Because I know a few people that I'm thinking of who are highly successful, and it's the same thing. But it's not about romanticizing the all-in grind. Like I'm going to work every single day, every single hour. No, you got to build smart. Not through desperation. You got to build smart. The goal isn't to quit faster. It's to quit the right way.
What if shopping could earn you cash instead of just costing you? You've been stuck in the cycle, tap, swipe, spend, watching your paycheck just disappear. But one day, after you stumbled onto this app called Rakuten, you ask yourself, why am I paying full price when I don't have to? But then you think, maybe it's just another gift. Then one of your friends tell you about this app called Rakuten, who makes them money and gives them cash back and rewards for thousands of stores every time they make a purchase that they were made anyway. You try it once, you discover hidden deals, compare prices, and you start winning. Shopping becomes a strategy. Every tap pays you back, and you still get what you want. You share Rakuten with your friends, watch your income grow, and become more financially confident. Download the Rakuten app today and keep more of your hard-earned money in your pocket.
To reiterate, your job is not holding you back. In fact, it is giving you the space you need to build the business the way you need to build it, because without that job, you would have no income. You would not be able to cover bills, feed yourself, keep a roof over your head, and the whole 9 yards. It's actually giving you the space to build something real without the panic of needing it to work right away. Yes, you want it to work right away, but there's no panic involved to say, I have to get this done. And a very, 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 very small percentage of you out there who are listening, you might be that one that actually needs to quit their job first. And maybe don't quit your job first, but create a scenario where your back is against the wall so that you can push forward, because everything's been a cushion for you, let's say. But you know that when your back is against that wall, come hell or high water, you're making this thing happen. So create that scenario for yourself. And I'm not saying quit your job. You know what you got to do that and make it work. But that's a very small percentage of you. Most of you listening, that is not the way you need to operate, because too many of you out there actually quit your job thinking that's when the business starts. But in reality, the business starts the moment you decide to build it. Quitting is just one step. Quitting your job to go into business full time. I don't even want to call it quitting, but going into your business full time and leaving your job, that's one step. And it's the last step you should take when you're ready, not the first step you should take out of frustration. If you take that step out of frustration, are you going to quit on your clients when you get frustrated? I'm just saying, it's a question to ask yourself. If you quit your job tomorrow, would your business actually support you, or would you just be scrambling? If you're trying to figure out when to quit your job or how to build your business alongside your job, Self Mastery is a 45-minute consultation where we talk about how to get the numbers you need, what those numbers look like, and how to plan this strategically. So if you want that clarity and you know you want to take action on it, go to apexaffiliation.com/self-mastery or click that link in the description. And shout out to Jamal King for giving me this idea. I first heard him say your job is your biggest investor years ago. So shout out to Jamal King for that one. One takeaway for you, the last one here. Your job is not the enemy. It is your investor. So quit when you're ready, not when you're frustrated. And when you're ready doesn't mean, okay, I feel ready. What do the numbers look like? It's not just a feeling. There's got to be some logic involved with this, all right? I know this was helpful for you. Hopefully you got something from it. Share this out with somebody who can benefit. Remember, success is not a destination. It's a spectrum. So keep evolving. Kadeem here, and I'll see you on the next one.